trying to manage the air, get them through it cleanly, make it work for them in the corners with grip. However, the V component is Volkswagen. Underneath these slippery skins, every one of them are running Volkswagen Beetle engines, drivetrains, and suspension components. And what that means, regardless of how slippery the chassis are, the racing is still going to be incredibly close. The grids are very close packed. This one is going to start things off in fine style. Now, I mentioned we've got a lot of different action coming your way this day, and that means lots of stories. With more on what to expect as the day unfolds, let's check in with four-time and reigning Trans Am champion, Tommy Kendall.
Thanks, Greg. I already feel right at home here in the showroom stock C paddock amongst all these full-fendered cars. Standing here with defending champion Paul Bonacorsi, who won the title last year in a Neon. This year he changed things up in a very bold move, switching to a Mazda. Do you think that was the right call?
Yes, I do. Based upon our times here this week, matching my times as the last year's Neon, and I think it can go a little bit faster in the race, and we're going to make it go a little faster in the race, and it handles really well.
Well, there you have it. In racing, it's a constantly moving target, and Paul has decided to change things up a little bit. He's got the #1 plate, which is like a bullseye. For more in this motorsports circus, let's go for more information on the next act to Dorsey Schrader.
Thanks, Tommy. Next up, one of the most competitive open-wheel classes of all time, Formula Ford. Now, the man that's dominated that class for the last 2 years, winning both years, is Bruce May. Bruce, can you make it 3 in a row?
I think we can. We've got a pretty good package here. I get all the credit because I'm the nut behind the wheel, and that's what everybody sees. But the real world is I've got a great bunch of guys behind me. Got John Taylor, Steve Knapp taking care of the motors, Bruce Foss with Who's Your Tire, got Tony Kester doing the data collection, and I got Gid Gibson that's heading up my wrenches. So I got a package that I think is going to be pretty tough to beat.
Well, guys, he's got good crew members. This car, a 1983 Swift, has won the national championship 3 times, and I tell you what, it's going for Ford today. Next up, John Bizignano with a story.
Thank you, Dorsey. Now, Eric Heuschle is already a champion in this Dodge Neon. He won the PPG Neon Challenge, but his competition comes from a true sports car, the Miata. Now, Eric, how does a sedan car like this compete against a true sports car like the Miata?
Well, it's not easy, but these Dodges have one thing, and that's horsepower. So my plan is to get by them on the straights and slow them down a bit in the turns.
Now, wait a minute. That doesn't sound like Mr. Nice Guy. We've heard that sometimes you just sat back and watched the competition eliminate themselves. Are you going to do that here at Mid-Ohio?
Not at all. This weekend, I'm in full attack.
Full attack mode here with this Dodge Neon. There is no Mr. Nice Guy in this type of racing. It's just too competitive. Now down to the 5th man of our announce crew, good old Bobby Gerald.
John, this is the 34th SCCA Runoffs, but believe it or not, Kearney Racing was in action 16 years before the runoffs even started. This is Don Kearney. This is his daughter, Linda. Now, during the regular season, they compete against one another. Only Don driving in the runoffs today, and Don, in 50 years now of racing, you've seen an awful lot.
We've seen an evolution from safety pieces being leather helmets all the way up to the current stuff that we have now that you really have to screw up to be hurt.
Linda, how much longer are you going to let Don do this?
As long as he wants to. He wouldn't listen to me anyhow.
So how much longer, Don? You're 67 now. It's the 50th anniversary.
Well, I don't plan on quitting anytime soon. I figure I probably got another 20 left.
An absolutely beautiful day here at Mid-Ohio. Again, ready for our second day of 3 days of live coverage of the 34th annual SCCA Valvoline Runoffs at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Very challenging track. You see a big crowd on hand. I think they are aware that there is something special that is going to unfold here today and, of course, tomorrow. Why? Well, it's such a big event. It's the 34th annual Runoffs, as we mentioned, 4th consecutive here at Mid-Ohio. 23 champions will be crowned over 23 different races in these next 2 days, and of course, including yesterday, over 600 entries from the United States and Canada, and well over 600 workers come from as far away as Hawaii and British Columbia, Canada. So representation throughout North America, no question. 39 states here are covered by drivers, and there are workers here from all 50. The youngest driver is 16, the oldest is 77. Doesn't seem to make any difference. The competition is fierce regardless of class or age. It is some superb racing. And we certainly saw some phenomenal racing here in our live coverage yesterday. A number of national champions were crowned. And Dorsey Schrader, obviously, there were the very happy moments, but there was some fierce competition as well. It was a great day.
quite typical of the runoffs. I'll tell you, there's nothing better anywhere. There's no more race cars, no better racing than this week here. If you're a road racing fan, this is where you got to be.
And Tommy Kendall, obviously, this is somewhat new for you, I think, joining the announce crew this year. And what did you think of yesterday?
Well, for me, it's more about the flavor. And the thing I really stood out to me was the intensity and the enjoyment these people have. The best analogy I can make, it's like being at the Final Four. Amateur sports, there's a lot more interest. It's pure love, whereas in big business auto racing, there's some other factors. Here, it's just all about loving the sport.
And it was on display in full force yesterday. I think a great indicator of what we are going to see tomorrow. That, by the way, is Steve Ford winning a national championship in Atlantic and saluting his crew. Remember, certainly the drivers get a lot of exposure, but the crews get an awful lot of pleasure out of this. There's his crew. An absolutely tremendous day. Now, let's take a look at the winners that we had in yesterday's action. In Showroom Stock 8, Jeff Altenberg put on a very strong run, as did Phil Lasco in Touring 1. Pratt Cole, a great win in E-Production, long time coming. Dwayne Davis, another championship in GT2. Speaking of another championship, add one more to the Billington Tracer regime. Adam Malley in H-Production, a dominant run. As we said, Steve Four had a superb run as well. Now, one of the classes that has already run today was Formula 500. We can't get them all live for you, but we're bringing you updates on the classes we didn't get live. And as you can see, the Formula 500 machines making their way out on track. Very unique, small. They all run 500cc two-stroke engines, either a Rotax or an AMW engine. And when the racing was done, it was a great race. Michael Brent took the win in front of Wes Wilfong, who started third in a Sidewinder, the engine alongside the driver, very unique. Moved to second. Lapham, Ron Vince moved up into fourth, qualified much further back than that. And then Howell Jones in fifth. Now again, Mike Brent had a strong run, and he's with Biz.
Mike Brent, you won with style, straight from pole position right through to the checkered flag, but you had a lot of competition right behind you.
Yes, we did. Those guys are filling my mirrors throughout the entire race.
Well, congratulations on a wonderful win to your crew, yourself, your first championship. You are the national champion.
Well, thank you very much. Couldn't have done it with my QC1 Invader. Thank you very much, John.
The second day of 3 days of live coverage of the 34th annual SCCA Valvoline Runoffs will begin here on Speed Vision right after this.
Riding along here with number 6, that's Randy Harris in his 94 Mysterian. He has qualified third today. You see the two cars in front of him up there, scrubbing their tires now at Mid-Ohio as they warm up on their pace lap, getting ready to the start of what should be a fantastic race, Formula V.
Well, here's what we're going to see today, Dorsey. We have starting off with Formula V, then we'll go right into Showroom Stock C. And again, the variety is what you need to pay attention to, folks. Something different in every race. Formula Ford, Showroom Stock B, A Sedan, and then we got two more races that we had earlier in the day that we will give you some updates on. So lots of action to come. Now, the Formula V race last year was very exciting. Let's go back to the live call from last year. Oh, Dad's got the camera out. This is a photo finish of a whole different sort here. He's all by himself, essentially. But it's the memory in Jacques Lazier, 27th position, up to the win. Look at that. He is elated. You know, Jacques is pumped. The Indy 500 and a national championship for that family in one season. Not too shabby. Well, again, the race coming up, that is how it ended up last year, by the way. Jacques Lazier again from 27th, and Bill Walschlager, Jim Kearney, Howard Landon, and Mike Rotchins. Those top four, by the way, are here for racing today, and obviously everybody behind Jacques have some items they might like to finish up on here. So be watching for that. Here is our Valvoline starting grid, and in the first row, it's John Ruffner, number 76. Jacques Lazier, this time second, not 27th. Randy Harris and Bob Neumeister on the second row. Jim Kearney, Greg Burns, row 3. Howard Landon, we mentioned, and Sherman Engler on row 4. And the rest of the field working down. Somebody to watch, number 80, Stephen Davis, back in 11th. Jeff Lowhead in 12th. Brad Stout also is going to be strong. He's back in 14th. Noble, a 5-time champ, way back there. And keep in mind as well that Bill Walschlager back there in 23rd is somebody you're going to want to watch. And then the remainder, Eric Tremaine in 31st, very quick driver. You can see how deep this field is. The top 15 covered by less than a second. This racing is going to be absolutely furious, no question. Cars are out working around. Now, here is our Dodge track description, and as you can see, very good track, a little different than the Pro track. I think, Dorsey, the Club track even more exciting.
Yeah, the keyhole up here, the little white dot up there, is a chicane type of a thing. Pro cars go straight up the keyhole. In this case, they go through a little chicane. Keyhole, real fast corner, goes on the long straightaway, brings you down in the S's. Thunder Valley, very scenic through there, brings you up into the carousel turn, leading onto the front straightaway. You see the start-finish line is different in this racetrack, so we have to watch for that.
All right, and of course there the cars are getting ready to go. One of the drivers that is here has had a rough road to hoe to make it to the runoffs this year. Let's check in.
Earlier this year on July 5th at Indianapolis Raceway Park, Jeff Lawhead was involved in a very serious crash. It was a 15-car pileup, if you can believe that. And this car was damaged so severely that from this point forward, it was all gone. It didn't even exist. Well, the car is in one place and ready to go for the runoffs, and so is the pilot. Jeff Lawhead suffered a concussion in that crash, but he looks ready. Jeff, are you?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I bounced back real quickly. However, the car's taken a little while to get back together. It's taken us about 6 to 8 weeks to get the car back in working order, and we spent over the last week trying to get it sorted out in order to go quickly. They knocked us out of the last half of the season, so one of our competitors actually offered the use of one of their cars, an Adams Aero, and I was able to complete the last 2 races of the season in their car while we developed this one. We've been spending the last week trying to get the speed back in this car. We've been going more quickly each session, and so we're hoping to be right at the front at the end.
Jeff Lawhead hoping that hard work will pay off.
Well, and watch for Jeff again coming up from 12th in that number 7 machine, the Citation. Field right now working through the keyhole, and there's the in-car once again. Number 6, Randy Harris, going to keep an eye on him. Qualified 3rd, obviously one of the front runners, and they are making their way now down that straight. There is the starter for this race, one of the SCCA volunteer workers here. Boy, they're bringing them up slow.
A lot of cars here, and they got to bring them up slow. Watch for this jam down there, the traffic jam that happens at the end of this straightaway. You got 15 cars within 1 second. Everybody's going to go for that front row. It's going to be 5 wide. I'm guessing 5 wide when they go green, which should happen any second.
There it is, a field of 45 cars, all powered by the same power plants. Drop the hammer, accelerate down through that kink, and heading toward what they call the S's here. Doris, there's 4, there's 5. You got it, 5 abreast as they head in. Watch for the action here. Turning in, so far so good. Very close on the turn in. Somehow, everybody thus far making their way through. Nice piece of driving. Pack looking okay, Tommy.
Well, that's a miracle. That's almost like starting a race in the rain with no rain. It's just chaos everywhere. But these guys with the open wheels have a healthy respect for each other, and they know they can't have much of a race if they don't make it through the first corner. One guy taking the real extreme outside there, but everyone through clean.
And again now, coming down, heading, oh, somebody get a little bump there, heading down toward turn 11 and into Thunder Valley. Action fast and furious. Looks like the lead group of 3 has broken away just a little bit, make that 4 as they work through. I think Jacques Lazier has dropped back a little bit. 77 Kearney right in the middle of that second pack.
Very important for these guys to get it sorted out quickly and get in single file line, because these cars don't have a lot of power. They need help drafting, and they're doing that right now. They're trying to get checked up, everybody get in single file, and you'll try to see packs work together to break away. These guys will be going slow here. Oh, 35 is in the ditch with the left front wheel completely tore off. He's probably had some help from this guy, number 80, as he's trying to find his way back onto the tarmac.
Well, 35, Brad Stout, one of the front runners in the Midwestern division. And interestingly, number 80, Stephen Davis, a 2-time national champ out, and Stout not happy.
Yeah, I mean, that, what do you expect? The guy, the first lap of the race, you've waited a long time for, and we don't know exactly what led to that, but it doesn't matter at this point. Gosh, more chaos. 4 cars out, that's turn 1. Only 1 is stuck in the gravel. The other cars should be able to get going. The one car is high center. I would guess we're going to have a full course caution to clean some of these out of the gravel.
Yeah, it's a tough area. That's number 88, Richardson. And here's number 80, Stephen Davis, as I said, a 2-time former national champ. And it looks like he's done for the day. And 88, once again, Mark Richardson from the Central Division, the champion in that division. Here's what happened.
Oh, that's exiting turn 1, and when we saw the cars were already sideways, these guys here have nowhere to go. They had to go to the outside because the track was blocked anywhere but that way. So they're all in the gravel pit. Here's another look, I think. Yeah, well, it's already happened. Something's happened coming out from underneath the bridge, and all this is reactionary to whatever happened up front.
You almost got to think that they tried to do something 2-3 abreast in turn 1, and that's tough.
Well, it was just real close quarters. You can see the yellow car loses at first, and the one car right behind him had nowhere to go, and everybody else, you have a split second to choose inside, outside. It's always easier to go outside because of the centrifugal force, and once you go that way, the cars eventually head that way, and you kind of get trapped. the two cars that got to the gravel straight, you notice one of the things you learn in racing, those gravel traps stop you, but if you keep the tires rolling forward, you can drive through them. And so this guy is able to get his car rolling again. He didn't unbuckle like Brad Stout, so he might be able to get going again. Double yellow, pace car.
We are full course yellow. Boy, those workers tried.
Just in time. He saves his lap. He was about
key.
the lap down there, so he's back on the same lead lap again.
Well, I was going to say, one of the nice things, if this happens early and the field's still bunched, you have a little time for the workers to get out and try and move him, but he was embedded in just a little too deep. Better to be safe, certainly. So we are 2 laps done, and once again now the lead has changed. Greg Bruns has gone to the front. We'll be back here at Mid-Ohio to sort it all out. More racing. Once again, back at Mid-Ohio, and it's under full course caution as the Formula Vs are deciding their national championship. Currently, it's number 99, Greg Bruns is your leader. You were just on board with our camera car, Randy Harris, who qualified 3rd, slipped to 4th, where he's running right now, and we are under yellow. Well, here's our top 5 again. Bruns, now Jacques Lazier, of course, qualified 2nd, stays there. John Ruffner, who was pole, is back to 3rd, then Harris, then 77, Kearney, who actually moved up a little bit, having a good early run as well. But again, we're under, whoa, somebody there. Oh, contact. Under full course caution, a little bit too aggressive here in trying to get tires warmed up.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, these cars are incredibly strong cars. It wouldn't surprise me if both those cars continue unscathed by that. But we saw that one car hit the back of the other car and climbed right over the wheel there. So there's a whole lot of race cars here, guys, on the racetrack, and they're all very, very equal. And when we see these incidents like we saw there in turn 1, that's what happens. It's not going to be a 1 or 2 car thing. You're going to see 3 or 4 cars get involved when we get problems.
That might have just been a show of affection, a little kind of Formula V mating ritual.
Well, once again, we are getting tires warmed up under full course caution. Earlier, G Production ran a very exciting class. Lots of older type cars were running. And here's the start of that race, very exciting. That is Dean Johnson, the black Triumph on the inside. He was on pole outside the red Triumph of Steve Sargis. And those two started off hard. Johnson right there gets the jump. Look at that. Hardy Prentice, number 26 in a very old Triumph, drops down onto the grass to get through, makes up a position. But Dean Johnson, that car known for its power, jumps out to a fairly stout lead early on. Sargis fends off the attack from the car that jumped into 3rd there and holds on. And look at that, off early, number 86, Kevin Gilbert. He just took the big loop heading off course.
Yeah, as Alpha just got in there a little too deep, got out in that grass. It rained last night. It's wet. You can see he just keeps spinning out.
All right, now check this out. You can see the smoke emanating from number 35, Dean Johnson, that right front tire. The smoke coming from there. Turns out it's a little more serious than that. Look at this battle right here, as that's an MG midget of number, I think that's 17, Hugh Armstrong. But look at the battle here as Sargis pulls out, drops to the inside, sneaks underneath. Dean Johnson takes over the lead in the early going of this one. Another Triumph there in 3rd, and then the midget. Now, watch this battle as Johnson, we thought he was in trouble, but look at this. Tommy, he just comes up and makes the move.
Well, he might, you know, that's a pretty classic Mid-Ohio out-braking deal, but he does it with authority. I mean, he's a full 2 car lengths clear before he turns in. So he might have dropped back to kind of assess the situation with that smoke and then showed his muscle.
At this stage now, we've got a good battle going on as number 17, Hugh Armstrong, who started in 8th, pulls out and gets by number 44, Kevin Allen. That is the battle for 3rd, and that midget makes the pass. Hugh Armstrong doing a nice job. Watch this now. 44, that's Allen again, and the Triumph ducks to the inside. Not only makes the pass, there's 35 Johnson in trouble, and Allen goes right back into 3rd, and 35 Johnson, it was terminal.
Classic double pass right back there. As you saw, the pop-out was too early, and the other guy got an advantage to get a wrap by him before they got to the end of the straightaway.
And at this stage now, number 18, Sargis, that red Triumph up front, is leading. And suddenly, look at Kevin Allen, just moves up and blows by him, takes over the position, goes to the point. Hugh Armstrong coming on strong as well. As it turns out, the leader at the time, Sargis, got stuck in 2nd gear and lost that spot to Kevin Allen. They're working through the carousel here onto the front straight. You can see Sargis in trouble, moves wide to let number 17 Armstrong through. Armstrong gives him the wave, says we appreciate it, know you're in trouble, and Armstrong just motors on and takes over the spot. But now here is number 17, Hugh Armstrong. He is working over Allen. This is for the lead.
Yeah, that's a good run down the straightaway again. Look at that hood shaking like crazy. That's not helping aerodynamically a bit, I guarantee you that. And here the 44 Triumph comes down the inside with a little bit more straightaway speed. Might be due to that.
It's a good chance. You've seen that twice where he pulled out around, and then as soon as he got in front, it's like he hit a brick wall. And whoa!
Oh, big spin. Big spin there.
He just carried way too much speed into the top of the S's, and off he went. A little bit further back in the pack now. This is a great battle for what is third. It's 26 Kent Prather and 29 Chris Fox. Nice move by Prather.
Yeah, I think it was Kent Prather at the beginning of the show that got 2 wheels off in the grass on the start. That didn't help him, and that's an old MG that he's driving right there.
Well, he made it good, as they say, and is now running in third position in that battle with Chris Fox. Very strong action, no question. And Prather, look at that. Big puff of smoke, problems.
Oh, big problems. I think that's an engine expiring on that car. As you see now, he pulls it off the racetrack. Yeah, I think that let go in a big way there.
And you saw number 44 who had that big spin moving up, and Prather's off. And look at that. There's the guy he was just racing with. 29 Fox having his problems as well. Now back at the front, 17 Hugh Armstrong under attack from number 18 Sargis. They head down into turn 7. Traffic almost, you would think, thwart Sargis. He finds a hole and squirts through. And look at the brake lockup, Tommy.
Yeah, well, he doesn't want to give that position up. Again, he's fighting that fluttering hood, and everyone's all over him, but he's able to maintain. Here he is. He's got a mirror full of the red car, and so he, off in the grass,
goes off,
does not lift one iota, but still at the grass on his tires. Wow.
He spins. He picked up second place. Sargis trying to go around him. Somehow Armstrong kept it alive, got moving. Look at his crew. They saw what happened. They can't believe it. Here he comes, the first one to get restarted, comes up to the start-finish line, and number 17 Armstrong, big hit and all, takes the win over Sargis. Absolutely phenomenal win, and of course he was a very happy winner down at victory lane.
Steve Sargis, a wild last lap. Try to describe that for us.
Well, in the middle of the race, the car got stuck in second gear, so I let the 2 guys by. And miraculously, a lap later, I got it out and got all my gears back. So I knew I was back in the hunt. When Kevin spun, I thought if I could chase Hugh down, he might make a mistake at the end. Unfortunately, his mistake involved me, and he got started before I did. It was a great race. I don't blame Hugh. I mean, that's what I wanted him to do, was spin. It's just unfortunate I was in the wrong spot at the wrong time.
Hugh Armstrong, tell us about that last lap. That 18 was getting bigger and bigger in your mirrors.
Oh yeah, Steve's a great competitor, and I actually had lost track of him. I thought he might have been out of the race. Suddenly I looked up and I saw him coming, and I knew he wasn't going to give me any room at all. Went down the back straightaway. He got up beside me, and it was sort of just who was going to break last. I was able to get through that, and I knew he'd make another run at me up here. As I said, I got off the track. It was an unfortunate incident, but hey, I'll tell you what, we worked a long time. My wife has done just a great job, and without her, I wouldn't be here at all.
Well, you should have seen the excitement in the pit lane. They win the prize, you win the prize. Congratulations on national champion.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Lana.
You
Well, in the background there, you could hear Steve Sargis giving him a congratulations. Hugh Armstrong, boy, one of the more exciting wins you're ever going to see, takes it over Sargis. Kevin Allen, after that spin, dropped out of the top 10, back to third. George Bachman, fourth. And Mark Webber, the racing photographer, running 2 classes here this week and having a very strong run up into 5th spot. So that Jeep production race, very exciting. Now, we had a restart briefly while we were away, and brief is the reason. That's it. 99, Greg Bruns, who was leading at the time of the restart, out of the race, and you can see why. Some pretty severe damage to the right rear corner of that V.
Yeah, I was going to say that production race looks like a V race or a Ford race, the way those guys were going at it. So, and now our V race is starting to look the same way. You know, that's tough. Hopefully we can catch a replay of that and see what, it takes a pretty heavy hit because these cars are stout, even though they're formula cars. Let's go to Biz for more on this.
Madeline Young, your husband, Greg Brun, what a great first couple laps, and then it all stopped. What happened?
Well, as far as I can tell from a report from someone else, I believe car 70 touched the back end of him and they went out. And last I heard, I didn't hear this from Greg on his radio, that his car was in the middle of the track in turn 1 and they were sending the wrecker out there. But he's out of the car and he's okay.
But those opening laps, going from 6th place to 1st, how did he do that?
Well, as far as I can tell, the first two guys, he went from 6th to 3rd immediately. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see that. And then the first two guys, I think, went a little sideways, and he took advantage of that. And he was ready to take advantage of any opportunity that there was going to happen. He also had the mantra of driving the course, driving smooth, and go around any obstacles and take advantage of anything that came along.
Well, it's all ended quickly. We're very sorry.
Very much. I'm very sorry also. Next.
Mantra. That's a good way to put it. Sometimes you've just got to almost get into a meditative state here to make things work.
Well, there's so much stuff going on. Like I always tell my guys, with my limited mental capacity, you got to keep it simple. And if you keep replaying that to you, here you have kind of the tail end in the car. You know, the majority has already happened. You can see.
You can see him. He's parked right there.
One thing for sure, it was a big hit because the front of this car over here is completely destroyed. The white car that went by had no front end left on it, so it's hit something extremely hard. And there is, in fact, the one car sitting dead right in the middle of the water there.
Boy, in the middle of the water, in the middle of about, what, 40 more?
Yeah, that's a
V's
terrible
storming
feeling.
by. It's got to be tough feeling.
Yeah. In a little twist of irony, the benefactor of that becomes Jacques Lazier.
Oh, see what we were talking about? That car had sat there for quite a long time, and that was a very big hit right there and set the 54 car upside
That's Dave
down.
Beckish who came along. Dave started 45th shotgun on the field and came along there. That's an example where it's hard to say, you don't know. The flaggers do the job to warn for that kind of thing, but people get caught up in their own race, and they, it's hard to see around the corner.
Well, Jacques Lazier now, your leader in Formula V. We'll be back to pick up the green in a minute. Back at Mid-Ohio, there's number 54, Dave Beckish, the New England or Northeastern Division driver. And watch what happened. Remember, we saw him right before he went to break taking a tumble. Look what actually happened. There's the car in the middle of the track sitting dead in the water. Look at the two cars coming up, Tommy.
You can see the silver car, and behind him is Dave Beckish, who is screened, and he can't see until he pulls out. So in a way, that's understandable. But if you know the rules, when there's a waving yellow, you know there is an incident that is imminent and dangerous right in front of you. And so it is your responsibility to not do anything, including pull out, until you can identify the hazard. So no one feels worse about it than he does at this point. Let's hope everyone's okay. I mean, that's a heck of a tumble for himself. But that's why exactly why the corner workers are there, and they are your eyes and ears on the course.
Now, that's a tough ride. Now, obviously, I mean, I would guess sometime in your guys' career, you've been on the roof, as they say. That's not a comfortable thing to have happen.
No, that was a real big hit, no question about it. And the bad thing is that car was sitting in the middle of the track there for probably close to a half a minute or so before that accident happened. So like Tommy said, there were flags at that scene, and you gotta think about that a little bit, because an accident like that is a pretty big accident. He tried very hard to get back in line after he popped out and saw the car sitting there. He tried to one time to move back, but they locked wheels, and that surely put him on. And that was a very big hit, no question about that.
Well, I know the corner workers call that overdriving a yellow, and they're not real crazy about it when it happens, no question. There's our leader, 34, Jacques Lazier. Now, 2 years ago, he came here, qualified very strongly, won it last year. But let's check into pit lane. Let's check in with Biz.
Angelique Adams, you are the entire crew for good old Jacques Lazier here. Now, these two yellows, how's that going to affect him?
It's not. As long as he stays awake, he's ready. His head is in this. He's been running Indy Lights this year. And all I've heard him talk about the entire year is, I can't wait to that Formula V race. This is his roots. This is where it comes from. So his head is in there.
He just went by 2 inches from another car. Does that bother you much?
No, it doesn't. I think maybe it did last year. But this year, after seeing him in those faster cars, these seem like they're almost at a walk-in pace. I think here it's more about your talent also. You know, all the cars are the same. They're evenly matched. And I know his head is in it. I know he thinks. And I know he doesn't make a move without knowing what he's doing, exactly what he's doing.
I think we should add Angelique to the announce team, guys. What do you think?
Works for me. Impressive. Well, and again, Jacques, as we said, last year when he came here, he qualified 27th. It wasn't indicative of what he could do. We had rain on one qualifying day, and he ended up on the dry day. Big problems. Boy, did he make good coming from 27th on the race. There's fourth place now, number 77, Jim Kearney, qualified 5th in the Northeastern Division, and has been very quick as well. And Jim having a good run early. Let's check in with Bob.
And Jim's fiance, Linda Lehman, is down here in the pits. It's kind of a fiance thing today. We just talked to Jacques Lazier's fiance, Angelique. That's right. Now, I got to ask you, in this form of racing, you know, it's open wheel and sometimes things happen. How are your nerves?
A little jittery, but I've been doing this now for 6 years, so I've got a solid core going.
What do you think of Jim's performance here so far? I know it's obviously early.
Oh, it's great. I mean, we're in great position. We're in 4th position. It's real solid. You can let the front guys duke it out and move right in there.
All right, good luck to you the rest of the way.
Thanks.
Linda Lehman down here eyeing the progress of her fiance.
Well, in progress, it is having a very strong run, as you said, up into 4th spot, made a spot up early in the action. Now, keep in mind, we have 9 laps of 19 done. All the races today, 19 laps in duration. A lot of this one under yellow, and obviously that's because of those 2 incidents, particularly the second one. At this stage, there's been a lot, you know, these yellows have been going long time here. Tommy, what are these drivers thinking at this point? They want to race.
Oh yeah, they're antsy, and 19 laps is short enough. When you eat up a few with yellows, you know, they have settled in. They've gotten a few laps under their belt, so they at least know where what their car's like. There's no uncertainty in that regard. But they want to drop the rag. They want to go racing. So an interesting thing about Jacques Lazier, last year he came from 27th. This year his job was much simpler. He only had to get by 1 car, but that's often easier said than done. The race has unfolded kind of in his favor, obviously. Now at this point, he's just got to just kind of go with it.
All right, well, we're going to go with it as well, obviously. We're looking for a green shortly. We'll be right back. Well, we're at Mid-Ohio, and there is number 70, Greg Shings, in the Clem Engines Valvoline Laser on the hook, one of the cars involved in one of the multiple incidents that have kept us under yellow here during the Formula V race. Now on board with our camera car. Now, by the way, Randy, the camera car running in the, well, he was in the 2nd spot, looks like 3rd. Now let's take a look at what prompted our first yellow. This is coming through turn 1, Tommy.
Yeah, you can see that car even way ahead. Everyone's getting crossed up on the concrete there. The yellow car gets it broadside. The one guy behind him nowhere to go. I'm not even sure he hits him that area. He almost gets it stopped, but then everybody else has to take to the grass. A couple guys, you know, one guy just nicks the gravel here. The most unfortunate bystander was in the blue. These other two cats just bomb right through the gravel. Again, you just keep your foot buried, hoping you make it through the gravel. That
was 88 Mark Richardson parked in the gravel. Now here's what prompted the second one. Big hit coming up right here.
Yeah, Dave Beck, as she pulls out, doesn't see that car, does a big flip right here, and we're talking about how hard he hit it. If you want to see how hard we hit, watch his head right there break the side of the car off as it goes off in there. Everybody seems to be okay in that wreck, though, so we're back live and we're back green.
Absolutely, and here goes Lazier. Boy, it wasted no time. Pulled out a little bit of a margin over number 6 Harris, then 76. Now Jonathan Refner, he's the guy who qualified on pole. So Lazier wasting no time, made good on that restart.
You've got to understand, a 10-car length lead is like a lap lead in any other class here in Formula V. And I was talking to Jacques 2 days ago, and these cars in the draft run almost a second a lap faster. So I would imagine these other 2 guys, if they can get it straightened out, will draft right back up to Lazier, and you'll have kind of a classic Formula V slipstream battle.
You were on board. Just watch the pass for position as 76. Refner, the pole sitter, moved back into 2nd spot around our camera car, Harris. Now the question is, can Refner, right there, the black car in 2nd, can he chase down the leader? Good battle right there. That is 77 Kearney, 4th, 5th, and 6th, working their way up over the jump and down into turn 11. Even though they're a little bit behind the lead group of 3, this is a great race.
Again, you know, like I said, these guys do what's actually called bump drafting, where they will come up, the car behind, benefit of the draft in front will pick up some extra speed. He'll just slam the car in front of him. They got plates on the gearboxes for that, and it imparts all that energy to the car in front, knocks them ahead, then they catch back up. And they do this. You can't do it in the corners, but the good guys can do it. There's car 12. That looks like that wasn't turn 1 either. That's in the S's. That's in turn 7. Pierre Desjardins from Clearwater, Florida. He's just, you know, again, gathered it back up. Without a yellow, his day is just about done.
Yep, he's well back. Let's watch what happened here. Just got it loose, looks like.
Yeah, he overcorrected. He caught the first slide, but got a little too much lock in. Got it off to the left. He's going to hit the tires. Not too. Oh, it doesn't hit him at all. I was going to say these cars are pretty stout. Put it in gear, but you know, he's lost contact with the pack. And as we said, the draft is everything in Formula V.
Yeah, he's well back, and as you said, nobody to work with us at this stage. His day just became a pretty long day. Back on board. Now in 3rd spot once again, Randy Harris, that 94 vintage Mysterian, having a good run. He's dropped back a little bit, Dorsey.
Well, he really hasn't dropped back. He doesn't have a drafting partner. As you see, the 2 up front are running nose to tail, and that makes them faster, like Tommy was talking about. They might be bump drafting, and that'll give them another almost full second a lap. What he would like to see is more of that, more of the racing side by side, because that'll let Randy get the momentum out and catch back up again.
Yeah, Lazier had the lead, but Refner, after he had slipped back a little bit, the pole sitter is showing that speed that he had in qualifying. He has reeled him back in a hurry.
It's pretty clear Lazier lost everything he gained on that big straightaway, and through the twisty bits, he's taken a real wide line. He's pretty confident in the speed, leaving the inside wide open, but that's what's allowed him to sneak away. And I say sneak away, it's only a car length and a half behind all these wolves behind him. Kearney lost a spot on the restart, and now has his hands full with about 4 cars behind him. There's a long way yet to go here. I wouldn't be surprised if we have a 7 or 8 car chain before this is all over.
Well, no question. Kearney, number 77, right there in 5th, followed by that pack of cars as he had actually number 2 had snuck by Howard Landon and moved around him. But Kearney now starting to close in on the car in front. So this is a great battle. He is now 4th and closing in on Randy Harris, as you pointed out. Now, when they all catch up, and essentially they have, that's what, a 4, 5, 6 car battle. That helps those leaders if they just go out and race away, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And those guys are smart enough to know that. They'll see that, and they'd rather, even though you don't. Oh man, that's Kearney getting around.
Number 2, Landon, was the car that got airborne when he caught that wheel of Kearney's. That's the joys, if you will, of open wheel racing. And he got off pretty good too, but it was Kearney. Looked like he just got loose all by himself.
I'm not sure that once that car went up in the air, if something broke, because he doesn't turn, doesn't do anything, doesn't hit the brakes. You see Kearney coming down, he's losing camber there, the road goes away from him, he loses it, this car just gets launched straight up, all he sees is sky, now he doesn't turn, doesn't brake, doesn't do anything, straight into the barrier. I'm not sure if something broke from the impact, because he was just a passenger.
He took a pretty severe whiplash when he hit and jumped up on the car. I saw his helmet snap back pretty hard, and you can see he's not making any attempt of getting out, although he's moving around now in the car.
Oh, I actually restarted it. I would. The tires doing their job there as they do. They are superb, and it looked like he's going to restart, try and get back underway. Meanwhile, Lazier continues to lead, but it is by no means a comfortable one.
No, it isn't. And you can see the seesaw. He pulls away. He was really quick through the left-hander, but then loses a little bit braking for the carousel. So even though these cars are virtually identical, the rules are so limited. You know, they all have the same 3-bar, Beetle front suspension virtually.
Right.
But they all set them up differently, and they, different people feel different parts of the course are more important and set their cars up accordingly.
Well, and I was watching. I mean, through some of these turns, you're seeing Lazier running a much tighter line than Ruffner is running. He tends to like to let the car flow. I mean, do you set your car up that way to utilize a different line sometimes?
Whether you try to or not, whatever your line is, it will highlight different handling characteristics, and so it might induce a push or an oversteer, so you'll constantly be working on that, whereas another guy driving the same car wouldn't bring that characteristic out. That's no different than you hear about cars being developed in any kind of racing to a driver's style.
We were just looking at number 41, Jeff Salcido from Des Plaines, Illinois. He was 10th in Central Division, but very quick, didn't run a lot of races, and he has come from 13th to 4th. Great run, but at the front of this pack, there is Ruffner once again, and there's that different line we're talking about. He seems to carry a little more speed through 7, and Lazier likes to have a better line out of 8.
Well, one of the things with these cars, they don't have very big engines. They don't have very much horsepower, as we see a yellow being put out, a double yellow already. One thing with the no horsepower is you have to drive very smooth. And by running a wider line, if his car's a little loose, it'll keep it from getting so loose. As we must have had an incident, we've got the pace car back on. And this is probably the reason down there still on the exit of the keyhole down there. Medical attention.
I was going to say, I think this is a medical situation. He wasn't moving at all at first, and then we saw him moving his head around a little bit, but I think he's got a pretty good case of whiplash, like Dorsey said. So he's not feeling, he is awake and he's conscious, but he is not feeling so red hot right now.
I'm sure he was stunned. Let's check in with Bob.
Well, we're back down here with Linda Lehman again, who is the fiance of the 77 driver, Jim Kearney. And if you can describe for us any radio communication that anyone on the team had with Jim.
What we heard was in the melee in the keyhole, he got bumped and his steering's gone. So, well, that shortens our day a lot.
We just saw him take a run through the pits. It didn't stop here at the pit stall and then went back out.
Paddock, that's the end.
Okay, so he has taken it behind the wall back to the paddock. So that's it for Jim Kearney. Sorry to see him out, Linda.
Thanks, we'll be back.
All right, guys.
Well, once again, that's a tough way for it to end. He had qualified very well up in the top 5, was running right there, and obviously that's a tough thing to do. Now, with this yellow, though, obviously, number 6, Randy Harris, the camera car, who's third. Salcido, the gang behind him. This is going to work in their favor because there was a big gap between those 2 lead cars to the group behind. That's going to be gone. Lazier, Ruffiner, Harris, Salcido, and Siebeneller. We're going to look for the green when we get back. We are back at Mid-Ohio, Formula V action, and we are under yellow right now. This is the first race in 10 so far to even see a yellow, and we have seen 3 of them thus far. Let's take a look at the Dodge race reset. Current leader is Jacques Lazier, qualified second, has been at the front and led now for 10 laps. There were 2 lead changes early on, but it's pretty much been Jacques Lazier for a while. And as I said, this is the first race of 11 run so far in the runoffs that we have seen a yellow, and we've got 3 of them in this one alone. So that's what's happening now. When we have yellows, corner workers are such a key role. The volunteers here and taking care of things on the track, they love what they're doing, as Biz found out.
Without the very professional volunteers from the Sports Car Club of America that stand at these corners at tracks all over North America, literally hundreds of races could not take place. You give up your vacation time, your weekends. Why do you do it?
Just to be up close and personal with the race cars. It's just a rush to be right next to them as they go by.
Now, I've always thought that the safest place at a racetrack is in the car itself. What's the scariest experience you've ever had standing next to these cars as they come whizzing by at hundreds of miles an hour?
Well, as they slide out or spin out and come and visit you at your corner, it's pretty thrilling to us.
It can also be very rewarding when you help someone.
That's correct. That's correct. It's rewarding when we can respond to the situation and we can help keep the race going under green.
Now, of course, these race weekends have no social life after the races whatsoever or after practice, right?
No, not at all. None of us get together and have a good time in the evenings. We all go right to bed so we can be ready to rock and roll in the morning.
And if you believe that these races could take place without the SCCA volunteers.
Well, you know what's key about that is you don't have to be a racer or a crew member to participate in racing in SCCA. If you want to get involved, there's specialties for every possible interest. All you need to do is call this number, 1-800-972-6662. Ask, that's the membership number, and they will fill you in. It is unbelievably cheap to become a member of SCCA and incredibly fulfilling. I'm a member of it. Bizignano's been a member for over 30 years, and I mean that's how intense it is. Once you get hooked into it, you are truly hooked into the club. That's what it's about. Club is the key word there.
I've only been in it for 28 years, so I can't say anything. I guess Biz has got me whipped on that deal.
Biz has got you topped off. Well, hey, what can we say? But again, it is very fulfilling. Another thing you can do, by the way, is if you're into computers, check out SCCA.com on the World Wide Web. Biz?
I just want you guys to know that I joined the club when I was only 8 years old. Okay, and I also have Robert Haas, the crew chief of number 6. Now, you told me a little while ago your man was in 2nd place. Now he's back to 3rd. This yellow flag has been good for him.
That's right. Yeah, we've lost a cylinder out there. It's intermittent. I believe we've probably got a valve seat that's cracked in the motor. The best thing that could happen would be for this to stay yellow. We're on the podium right now. The car is still very fast in the turns. Randy's got this track down very well. It's just a matter of staying alive until the sprint happens at the end of the race. I believe that the motor right now will turn 6,000 RPM. That will not do us any good on the back straight, but the rest of the track, we're still pulling quite well. So it's just a matter of the cards are on our side, we'll still be there at the end. That's our only hope.
Well, the hope is that the yellow flag continues, guys.
Well, and again, I mean, as I said, first one we've seen with yellows, and out of 19 laps total, 16 have been run, 12 of them at this point under yellow. Now, during the racing, you want your momentum in these cars to stay alive, Doris.
We talked about it before, bump drafting. Watch the second car in line here. Watch the helmet on the car, the driver, number 8. He's going to get hit from behind right here. Bam, right there. That just propelled him about 5 miles an hour faster, and it will draw the 11 car and the 66 car up to that same speed. It's a way of going, like I said, a second a lap faster, but mile per hour, you're looking at maybe up to 10 mile per hour gain by bumping along like that.
Well, and we were watching them in qualifying. They come out of the keyhole, and you'd see 2 of them, and they do that, and then the one would just lock right on behind and shove them down that straight.
The physics behind that is the car behind has less drag, and so he's able to catch back up even after he knocks the car in front. You've got twice the horsepower and only 1 3/4 times the drag or something like that. The only exception where that won't happen, on the last lap, instead of hitting him, he's going to pull out and go around.
All right, here is our top 5. It's Lazier leading over Ruffner, then Harris, then Salcido, and then Roger Siebenaller having a very strong run as well. He was in the qualifying or back in 16th. He's the champion in the Northeastern Division, up into 5th. And his Mysterian, a great run. So we're getting ready. Well, the indication is we're expecting a green this time by. And again, it's all bunched up. Perhaps the car to really keep an eye on is that number 6, our camera car of Harris, not running on all 4.
Well, he said he might have a cracked valve seat, which means it's going to lose compression through there. He needs a little bump draft to get him down that straightaway, apparently. The crew chief said that he thought it would run 6,000 RPM, which isn't very strong down the straight, but it's enough to get it through the corners probably pretty well. In the straightaway, that car's going to be pretty lame. Bobby Gerald.
We're once again down here with Jacques Lazier's fiance, Angelique. And Angelique, what do you think now? We've got a couple of laps left in this one. Can you make it 2 in a row?
Oh, no doubt. I have no doubt. In fact, maybe we'll take it for 3 next year.
Oh, he'll be back. All right. Very good. Very good. All right. They're keeping an eye.
Well, Bobby, it's our understanding here that they're going to get the green and white together this time, where we might be seeing a checker at the end of this next lap, but we're going to get the green first. 34 Lazier really working those tires.
Well, it looks like they got sticker rubber on there. They don't. You see those little yellow things? Those are leaves that are falling out of the trees, and they're sticking to the hot rubber. And that's Jock trying to get rid of that stuff before they go green here.
Oh, and he ran up, got by the pace car for pit in, and number 76, Ruffner, staying right with him. And there's the gang of them as they come through the carousel. Look at that, Ruffner timed it beautifully. Got to the inside, almost a bump there. Ruffner inside, Lazier outside, Ruffner takes the lead.
That could, I mean, I don't know with the pass in the pace car, if that distracted Jacques a little bit, didn't quite time things right. He's coming back. You're going to see it all happen on the back straightaway. There's a pretty good shot up the tailpipe right there from Jacques. But again, this is where the race is going to be run, right down the back straightaway. You might see the lead change twice.
The launch out of this keyhole could be key, Dorsey.
It could be key. Oh, it's not good for Lazier as he goes too far wide off into the grass around the outside of the speed bump. That will lose him position and maybe the draft for the lead. And the other thing I was about to say is there's no guarantee there wouldn't be a penalty for passing the pace car either. So there could be a lot more to this than what we're seeing. A lot of shuffling going on for 5th place right now.
Interestingly, if there's a penalty, you'd think it would have to go to him and Ruffner, because Ruffner went right with him. There's that gang heading in to turn number 7 into the S's, and it is a block. Oh, look at that move to the inside for 3rd, side by side. Didn't get it done. Incredible action. There's Lazier sitting in 2nd, now chasing Ruffner for everything he is worth. Ruffner down through 11, heading down into Thunder Valley. Lazier, and there's that gang. That is 41. Salcido now made his way past Harris, so he is up into 3rd, looking at a podium. But the group behind him, unbelievable racing.
Yeah, and Ruffner didn't even have to play out his final strategy there. Here, Lazier's off again.
That's it. He's going around this time.
And here comes the pack of wolves behind him, broadside of the track. Not a great. Oh, yeah, that's a good move. Get out of there. And Ruffner takes an uncontested win.
What a drive.
We're going to have to sort this out for 2nd through 10.
Ruffner takes the win. Remarkable. You would think Salcido jumps into 2nd. Harris may have ended up with a podium anyway with that Duff engine. Unbelievable action here. Again, not a lot of laps of green, but the ones that were very exciting. And look at Ruffner, very happy indeed, and he did what he had to do. Oftentimes on a restart, the guy that is on point just gets a gap and checks out, especially in a 1-lap sprint. Ruffner did not allow that to happen, and he becomes your 1997 Formula V National Champ. We'll be back with Victory Circle festivities in a minute. Welcome back to Mid-Ohio, and it is Formula V National Championship action, and it has been decided, and that's the gentleman, number 76, the pole sitter, John Ruffner, and interestingly, he led 2 laps of this race, the first one and the very last one at the checker, and he ends up with a championship. But remember now, we saw that little bit of a moment when Lazier ended up passing the pace car, as did Ruffner, and look at him. He is shaking his fist here, and I think it's because he had gapped the pace car, dropped way back, and the pace car slowed down so much. Look what happens.
Exactly. The pace car is supposed to maintain a pace. It depends on how they were told at the driver's meeting. If you were allowed to let the pace car get a gap, then that's Jacques' fault. If the pace car was supposed to keep a constant speed and didn't, that's the pace car's fault. At that point, all he could do was try to brake check Ruffner behind him to equalize their speed. As it was, Ruffner kind of hung back a little bit. They bang wheels, interlock wheels for a second, and then Ruffner's on through.
I tell you, that's it's kind of, both definitely did pass that pace car before it got in there. Here's the spin out where Lazier is just too hot. He's out in the grass on the outside. He's still looking like he's going to save it, but as it comes onto the racetrack here, in fact, he did save that one, but a little further up the road here, you're going to see that it gets out from underneath him again, and that's coming up right here. Drops off into the dirt there. Thing gets crossed up, comes on the racetrack, and around she goes, and that ends his day.
Yeah, he was in the dirt when he wanted to be slowing down. He couldn't slow down until he got on the asphalt, and here is the benefactor of all this, John Ruffner.
And what a smart drive he had. And keep in mind, when Lazier was shaking his fist, Ruffner had backed off a little bit. He knew what was going on, and he took advantage of it.
Exactly. At that point, with Lazier, what he, again, all he could do at that point was to try to control the pace. So then it's just a drag race, and their chances are he's going to win that to turn 1.
And Ruffner was on top of that. And as a result, there you see him, the provisional results. Ruffner takes the win over Salcido. Harris, nice job. Roger Siebenaller up from 16th to 4th, and Bob Neumeister in 5th. And interestingly, last year's race was good as we take a look at the rest of the top 10. It was a good one. There were some yellows there too. The average speed last year was 65.7 miles an hour, 63.543 miles an hour this year for number 76, Jonathan Ruffner. So there's the rest of the top 15. We're going to be back again with some Victory Circle festivities at Mid-Ohio. Welcome back to Mid-Ohio on the 34th annual running of the SCCA Valvoline Runoffs, and national champion number 11 has been crowned provisionally, and it is, of course, a great drive by John Ruffner. But right now, let's check in with second place. He's with Bobby.
That's right. Jeff Salcido did a fantastic job. He started 13th, ends up with a second place finish, and a big smile on your face. You're awfully happy about that.
No doubt. I'll tell you, I just rode in the train there, and I just mind my own business, and everyone else took themselves out. Early on, when we were going through all them yellow pace or yellow flag laps, I didn't think I was going to have much chance to do any racing, and it just fell into place. And then Lazier spun here on the last lap. I can't believe I finished second, starting 13th. We came down here, we did no testing or anything, so this is great. And I got to thank Butch and Ron from DRE for supplying me with this car and the opportunity to drive it. I can't say enough about them.
You just did. John Bizignano standing by. John.
Jacques Lazier, you had a full course yellow so many times. How did that affect you?
Well, there was a point where I thought Randy Harris and I were going to be able to break away from everybody. And then we had a full course yellow, and I had a real good start. I could get some really good starts and kind of jump the field. And on the last one, it kind of bit me because I came around and I guess they really wanted to have a drag race and see if they could bundle up a bunch of cars going into the first turn, because the pace car decided to slow down and collect everybody back.
You actually went by him.
I had to go by him. I mean, it was the point where I had to go back down to second gear. In a Formula V, even the tightest corners, you don't go down to second gear. So, I basically had to stop. But, hey, congratulations to Jonathan. He absolutely ran a heck of a race.
What happened on that last lap, though?
The last lap, I think I kind of got bit on the restart. I had a real good restart. And, like I said, it kind of looked like the pace car decided to kind of bring everybody back together. I got a real good start, but that's all right. We'll get them next year, and I want to thank Peak Performance, Hoosier Tires, and Redline Oil.
And you're headed back to Vail. He's headed back to the Tivoli Lodge in Vail, guys.
Well, and again, we just saw in that replay, there's a little bump there as they were trying to decide things going into one.
They banged wheels, and then they interlocked wheels for a second. Needless to say, last lap, no one wants to give an inch. Let's go to we're going to come right back in a few minutes. We've got the winner standing by. We'll get the other half of the story on this, and stay tuned for that.
We are back at Mid-Ohio, a very happy crew. As you can see, it is a national championship, and of course, that's pretty big stuff, and they're very happy. The winner is with Bob Gerald. Bobby?
And that is big stuff, especially for a 17-year-old. And look at that baby face right there. You are the youngest national champion. Did you realize that?
Yeah, just as a qualified first, my father told me I was.
Tell me about that last lap, you and Jock side by side going into turn 1.
I was nervous. I didn't think we'd have enough time to finish. I thought it might finish under yellow, but luckily it didn't.
Were you nervous? You said you were nervous, but what about the wheel-to-wheel? And it looks like maybe you guys even touched going into turn 1.
We touched quite a few times. I mean, he's a great driver. I love racing with him. He's one of the best drivers I've ever raced with.
What's next for you?
I'd like to, I don't know, we just need to move up, either a Pro Continental ride or, a Formula Mazda or Barber Dodge. You don't know, whatever happens.
A lot of good ones start out right here at the SCCA Runoffs, and we've just seen a sterling performance by young Jonathan Rufner. Just turned 17 on September 30th, Greg.
Just turned 17, youngest national champ ever. Don't you just hate him? What a talent.
I hate him.
What a future he has got. Take another look at that bump going into turn 1. That was the moment right there, and there's the deciding moment. A very happy young Mr. Rufner takes the win. Look at him. He is elated. We'll be back at Mid-Ohio in a sec.